Welcome back to another episode of Look What Just Found. Today is episode 295, and I find it very hard to resist. I have a couple more of these all red penny rolls. They always remind me of like a vintage type, like a penny roll that you would buy on eBay for $5 or $10. With that said, I just picked up one from eBay that shows an Indian head on one side. I think this is going to be the second time in since I started the channel. But every once I like to try to mix things up on the channel so it doesn't stay stagnant. So the last couple ones that I opened up like this type of a penny roll, these all reds, they were not. Oh, this one looks a little better. Now you have to be careful. What happens? I get tricked so easily. This looks like a lot of copper to me. I'll let you look at it. I'll put the light on. To me, that looks like a lot of copper. And I typically over appraise how much copper is in one of these penny rolls. So I'm going to make my guess, and I'll let you look at it, and you could take your guess. See, now that I look at it through the camera, it looks like a little bit less. I'm going to say 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20. All right, I'm going to say half the roll is I'm going to go with 25 copper pennies. All right, and of course we're starting off with a non-copper. Now, I got the light on that I put on so you could look at the roll. I don't know if it's too bright or not. It's weird. Sometimes it seems too bright. Yeah, see, I like the contrast without the light. Okay, 2000. We're looking for the wide AM. No wide AM. I don't think that's a die clash. If it is, it's very weak. It's probably dirt. All right. And this seems like copper to me. This is copper. 71D. Turned it back around because I noticed. So weird, right? How random, how bright it is on the bottom there of the color. Let me make sure that's not something. Where's my my loop? So, I have no idea what that is. I'm thinking it's a mint era, but it's just very weak, and it's not. I don't think it's worth anything. So let me start off with congratulating Tina. She is the members only contestant winner of uh, this little USB microscope that I have. I upgraded to a bigger microscope, and I decided to give away my little hand microscope to one of our members, and Tina is the winner. It will be going out within the next couple of days, so keep an eye out for it. But I try to do little things like that for our members as often as possible, to be honest with you. I mean, I have so much respect for our members, and I think it's such a nice thing. I know this is not a big channel like Chris Coins, Rob Finds Treasures, and um, and I'm not sure exactly what they do. I know a lot of those other channels they do. They also schedule their videos, so I guess. And I did mine without really uh, without researching, how to get members. Let's say, you know what I mean? Like I didn't do that. I just knew that I needed to that I'd like to somehow get my channel to the point where I can get memberships, and also to have free time where I can take days off here and there, So it worked out well. So I think that I do an 88. We're looking for the flare G. Can I see it from this distance? I don't think so. I think I really would have to look. So someone asked me the other day, what's the flare G for? And I guess my best response to that would be, it's just a dye variation, and that's what a lot of people are looking for, are dye variations. One of the things that I found out much later on, from coin roll hunting, here goes another 98. We're looking for a wide AM. Nope. Is that the penny mat and the little orange over here, that could be a lamination error. And the errors, or the varieties, see, they call it varieties. I guess that's maybe the better term, but they don't really explain what they mean, right? The Rob Fine's Treasures penny mat, and most of the other penny mats, they just tell you what to look for, right? What year, and then they go DD. And huh, ugh, no wide AM. And DD means double die. And I always thought that, well, not always, but obviously now I know the difference, that they were talking about like a dye variation, like on copper coins, right? On copper coins, and same thing with Konica and a bunch of these other online. Look at that. See how much dirt it is? Look, I left it on the table. And a lot of these other online coin, Wexler, a lot of those 001s, those are dye variations. 002s, whatever they are. So, for example, you could have a little notch, or a slight doubling, or a widening of an element, or a letter, or a number, or a little extra something, and and what they notice is that there's thousands of that those differences on that specific coin are caused by a specific die, usually a hammer, which means the top one, right? The bottom one is the anvil. That's what the hammer hits. So this is 1960. So this is a bronze coin, and this is either a small or a large date. And I think this is, I don't know, it looks like a small date to me. I could be wrong, but and so I hope you're following what I'm saying. This is pretty deep stuff that I'm talking about now. This is something you only learn after probably years and years and years. The 94 you're looking for, I think it's the double ear. No, double ear. Years and years of study and research. So Konica, as I was saying, Konica, Wexler, it's a die variation, right? So on a true double die, I call it a true double die. Some other people call them true double dies. You'll see like two whole complete doubles. Like you'll see a whole nother 1993, for example. And they're so obvious, right? You don't need a mat to tell you that if you see something that is so outrageously double, you don't need a mat for that, right? So the 1955 is a very good example, and they cost about $1,500 now. I remember when they were like $200-300 a few years ago. I should have picked some up. Now they're like 1,500, 2,000, depending on 2,500, depending on the condition. But there was a die, right, that had two 1955s on it, slightly off-centered. For however that happened, I don't know the history behind it, but that's a true double die, right? So on the mat it says DD, right? But then it's very easy to get that DD confused with, a Conacher Online DD0001, right? Because like if you're new to coins and you're trying to research this stuff, you start to, it's very easy to get them confused. It confused me. Let's just put it like that. If it doesn't confuse you, great. Huh. But it did confuse me. And it wasn't until hundreds and hundreds of videos later and researching hours and hours and hours that I began to realize that even though they're both, um, well, one is a die. See that the 55 is a die era, right? On that die of the 55, there are two 1955s, and you can go. I'll show you. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Just so you understand. And I said, remember, I said between 1,500 and 2,500, right? Selling for. So I'm going to put 1955 double die Lincoln cent. It comes right up. All right. Okay, and I'm going to go highest first. Okay, just so I can give you the best examples. Okay. All right. Now I'm seeing some for 36 friggin' $1,000. That's crazy. All right, I'm gonna go. I want to go down to the ones that are like 2,000, 3,000. I'm telling you, these were like $200, $300 a few years ago. It's bananas, man. That's just to show you the direction, what a good store of value coins are. So here, I'm gonna show you this one for $2,500 with 11 watchers. Okay, so as you can see, there are two distinct 1955s, right? So the die that made this penny, the hammer, right? Because it's the top, it's the face, the head. The hammer had two 1955s on it. So that's what I call a true double die. Now, if a die gets damaged while it's making coins, damaged, right? So that's that one. Look, it's even on. It's not only on the 55. Look, it's also on the letters. I mean, this whole thing is doubled. This is such a beautiful coin, and that's why it commands such a high value. But look, if you want to see what some of the other ones they want, it goes right up to thousands of dollars. And this is CDN Exchange. They want 36 grand. Is it double or tripled? I can't tell. It looks blurry to me. Anyway, look how far apart they are. So you don't need a coin mat to find that, right? If you see something like that, it's just gonna jump out. Even if you're very quickly looking for wheat cents, if you see a double die like that, you don't need a mat, right? And you're talking about $2,000-$3,000 pennies. But then there's other types of errors that are very, very that's what I'm looking for. They're minimal. There's an error on the die that's much less significant, but they made hundreds of thousands of coins from that die, right? And it has a little notch or what they call a spread, or the number is thick. Now to see those, that's why that's basically behind the whole science of using a microscope. You don't need a microscope. I mean, you could even be blind and find that 1955. You could touch with your finger and you'll know that it's not correct, right? But those notches, that you put under the microscope, that again, those are for spreads, thickness, slight doubling, little lines here, notches, things that, sometimes I can see them under with the camera, right? You know, you put it like this, and you reflect the light, and you can see if there's any like. Now, this is where it gets even trickier, right? Because there's something called machine doubling, which you see a lot more on zinc pennies. For example, let me see. Here goes another copper. That you'll find on zinc cents. So let's look at this. Here's a zinc penny, right? So if I go like this, let's say we saw some slight doubling on it. Remember, because the layer on top of the zinc penny is clad, right? It's just a thin layer of copper over zinc. So when the hammer hits it, it has a little around the edge of the die that strikes the top. It has a little lip or a bevel or a curve, and it'll slightly tilt, and sometimes it'll make the letters or the numbers or something, look a little uneven. Distorted is a good word for it too. And they call that machine doubling. It's more or less worthless, but it looks a lot like some of the other die variations that that Konica. Like I'm gonna type in my if I type in Lincoln Cent, and I have DDO is up already on eBay, so I'll just leave DDO up, which means double die obverse. All right, and then I'm gonna go lowest first. There's 10,000 of them on eBay. Then I'm gonna go lowest first, and I'm gonna look for one that that's a good example. Okay, here's a very good example. Starts out at a penny. It's a 1955 S, so it's a good example. All right, so let me zoom out just a bit here. So this is kind of like an educational video I'm doing now. I get every once in a while, every day I have a different urge to talk about something different. Today this is more educational. Okay, so here, right, on this, right, see the bid's at 1 penny, right? Double die, RPM plus die crack, BU. He's got everything here. And it says, should say, and DDO, right? And then what's he do? They put little arrows. And what do they point? What is this? What is that little? What's this person pointing to? Well, this is a die. So on this die, right, that made this 1955, there's little notches, there's little things, and this person is showing it, right? To me, the most obvious is the S, right? So I would have noticed, anybody could notice that. So it has the RPM, but this guy, he's noticing every little, look at that under the T. So these are the little notches I'm talking about that they show in Konica. Here, I'll open up copper pennies online. I'll open them up. I'll go to the date guide. That's what I use. So here we go to the date guide, right? Here we're at the date guide. Let's just pick a random. Yeah, we'll go to 65. All right, then we go. P means Philadelphia. 1965 Philadelphia. Something on the obverse. 1DO. All right, there's nothing here. Let's go back. Let's go back to the date guide. Let's pick 1974. All right, yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. All right, we'll pick that. Nothing. Okay, that's weird. How about the 77? 1DO. Nothing. All right. I'll make a. All right, how about 86? P1DO. All right. So here we go. Now, just like on the eBay picture, this person has little this person from the website coppercoins.com, and he's showing, look, extra. See, this is extra thickness, right? Or a slight thickening, or a spread. But let me see what has a moderate extra thickness on date. So this is something you might need a microscope to see. And how much is it worth? Between, now this is MS65, so you really need that to be graded. The AU, so it's worth between $2 and $10 if you find it. Here goes another extra thickness. So understanding what I just went through right there is a culmination of, what episode is this? 200. This is the culmination of knowledge of doing 295 episodes that I'm sharing with you. What I just shared with you in the past 21 minutes would take hundreds, if not thousands, of hours to understand with some assistance, right? Because I have some members that are very knowledgeable in this area, and I have to be honest with you, I was totally confused for months and months and months, until it started to sink in, like, because it's so confusing. DDO, this 5 different. How come Wexler and Wexler and Copper Coins and Konica, and they all, for the same era, they have their own numbers that they use. So I used to think that one number was used by all of them. No, they don't. They have to use different numbers, I guess, because that's the intellectual property of the other person who has maybe made books and stuff like that. So Wexler will call it an 001 dash whatever, and then the same error, or which is, it's not an error. Remember, this is a die variation. So it's an error in the sense that the die isn't supposed to be created that way. But it's not an error in the sense of, you look at it and you have to have a microscope. You follow me? You're talking about very small pieces of information, right? So this is where I see that people get caught up, and they ask 1,000 questions because it's very complicated, right? I mean, I could just go on and on and on about this, and I'll never finish the video. So, and what I've noticed, like what I just went over with you pretty quickly. I just went over, like I said, 295, talking about hundreds of hours of research, and is something that nobody. I mean, I've watched many videos of other coin channels, and none of them just went through with you what I just went through there, to help you understand and explain all the different websites and what true double dies versus minor die varieties, and nobody's going through that with you. So hopefully, I make a dent in for beginners. So this is part of the reason why the other channels, they're not going to go through that, because really you kind of have to be, 92. We're looking for the close AM. No, I don't think that's a close AM. Let me look at it under the loop. I doubt it. Doesn't look. No, it's not. No. That's $100 penny if you find a close AM. So that's why they get upset. 61. This is also a bronze penny. That's why they get upset, because they're frustrated, because they really don't know how to teach. So, for example, and I'm gonna knock on him a little bit, because he sent me a nasty message once, Coins help you. And I've heard other people complain about his attitude. You know, he's very knowledgeable. He's very smart. He has a very wide understanding, but he does not know how to teach. And even though he's called Coin Help You, if you ask him something, he gets nasty with you. So what does that tell me? That tells me he's not. I don't know. He's a contradiction in a sense. Maybe he wants to help people, but he just doesn't know how to help them. You know, and I don't know if that can be taught. To be honest with you, me, I'm kind of, I was a social worker for many years, and I think it's part of my nature to really want to instruct and assist people. And a lot of these other people, they're just not, they're just not like that, and but I understand why, because the information is so confusing, and if you don't have that ability to communicate complex thoughts in a simple way to other people, then you're going to get frustrated because you really don't know how to do that. And that's a skill, and it doesn't make me a genius or anything. I'm far from that. I just have a lot of practice at helping people. And that's all there is to it, and so I have a lot of practice at helping people, and I put probably thousands of hours into understanding penny roll hunting and what all the information on these various websites means, right? Because I don't like being confused. When something confuses me, I don't think that's the one. I'll zoom in on this one. No, you can tell. Well, you know what? I'm gonna look at it under the loop. To me, it looks like they're close together, which of course they are. Yeah, yeah. But what happens, why it gets a little confusing sometimes on these wide AMs, is that on the bottom of the letters, there's a little slant, and the slant, depending on how the light is hitting the coin, will make it look like there's a space between them, but there's not. All right. So anyway, it's not a wide AM. So again, I'm not a genius. I'm far from it, but I put so much time into this that I've learned how to. I've learned the bare basics, the bare minimum of understanding the uh, the significance that these people who've put a lot of their life into understanding coin errors. Um, but what they're doing though, and they know they're doing it. Like I said, they can't articulate to the common person, right? There's a wide gap between a novice and an expert. The gap is so huge that unless that person who's an expert knows how to articulate in such a way where the novice is going to understand them, then it would be like speaking a foreign language. It truly is like speaking a foreign language. You just can't understand what they're saying. So I would like to think that on this channel, one of my goals is to cross that bridge for the beginner to understand when and not get turned off, right? Not get scared away from the information that's super duper complicated. So I'm going to try to bridge that gap. So I'm not an expert, but I would consider myself at this point an amateur. And in case you haven't noticed, the difference between a novice and an amateur is very wide. So imagine between an expert and a novice, a beginner. So hopefully I do a good job at that. And I earn my members, people who become members of my channel. I'm hoping that I earn that. Um, I think I don't know if any of them are going to put any comments below, but I welcome my members to put comments below. And if they can um, verify they don't even have to do it. If you just go to the beginning of my videos, you'll see I'm talking about things. And when I look at them, I have to laugh now because I really didn't know what I was talking about. And I wanted to. I mean, I put a 1970S. Ah, that's great. Good. I get to take a break from. What? My internet keeps going out. I'll take a sip of coffee. Yeah, right. Like that's what I need, right? For some reason, I have to restart it. All I want to look up was the value or the my internet is out right now. I know they said they were going to work on something today. They sent out a message about the internet. Anyway, so let me keep going. Well, we found a 1970S. We'll take a look at it. And what a beautiful condition this is in. I'm going to say this is high AU to low MS condition. Absolutely stunning. I don't know the value on it, though. I don't know the 1970S. That's a really nice penny, though. Might be worth $1 or something like that. I hope my internet turns back on soon. We're so dependent on it, right? I am, anyway. All right, so we only have a few more pennies to go, and we're over a half an hour for the video already. So I hope that what I've been rambling on about for the past half an hour makes sense to you. And of course, we have to count, right? I said 25, and I could tell you right now I'm nowhere near 25 copper pennies. And if you know that now, the people who understand what I've been talking about, like that it's crystal clear to them, have been researching coin errors for many, 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 many years. And like I said, we have several members who that is the case with. And I remember it was very intimidating for me initially. But I never gave up, and I have to thank my members for being supportive through that process. And of course, they had the opportunity to witness my metamorphosis, my transformation, my learning throughout this time period. Oh. So it really all depends what it is that you're interested in. Some people really get into researching and pulling out the microscope and looking for all those variations, which I could understand. It's very it's intriguing. No. Oh, 90. Oh, I wish this would be such a beautiful example of it's such a nice condition. Look how it's so shiny that the camera's having a problem focusing. Oh yeah, we're looking for the close AM though on the 92, and as you can see, there's a big space between the A and M. So this is a wide AM. This is what you want to see on the 98, 99, and 2000. Okay, so now let's count up the, and I have 3 more coppers on the bottom, right? So we have 3 here, the 60, the 61, and the 70S. So that's 3. I said 25, right? I don't think so. There's no way. Let me zoom out a bit. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay. All right. So we had 17 copper pennies in this roll, which is, and some of them are really nice, right? I think there was a couple really, really nice ones. The 70S is tremendous. These are like nice low AU condition. So we almost, so if you want to remember, if you want to know what percentage of copper you have, right? Do you remember the trick? I think I talked about it in yesterday's video. So how many did I say we found? 17? What you have to do is double it and you'll know what percentage of copper you got. So we have 17. 17 and 17 is 34. So it's 34% copper in that penny roll. So that's very good. You know, if you get 10%, which is 5, to 20%, which is 10 copper pennies, you're in good shape. So I'm gonna have to say that this was a pretty good penny roll. No errors, but we did find this really nice 1970S. Oops. No, that's the 80, which might be worth, I don't know. Hard to tell. I mean, it also has a collar error on it, which doesn't really add much to the value. Look how shiny it is on the side. So this is a nice MS condition penny. It might be worth 50 cents. But I'll put this away or I'll put it into a flip. And if one day it's worth $1, then you know, if I have 100 of them, then I have $100, right? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about today's topic. If that's something that interests you, then maybe in the future I'll talk a little bit more about how to understand or navigate the complicated concepts of the die variations versus true double dies and all the different Arab websites and their specific naming of the die variations, which are the same, but I mean, now forget it. I could keep going on and on about it, but I hope you enjoyed the video. Please click like and subscribe. Consider becoming a member. All this helps out the channel and makes me want to keep on doing more videos. Thank you. Take care and God bless.